Hello, humans. I am Scott Cannon coming to you live on WLTH 1370 AM from the greatest city in all the world, Gary, Indiana. And this is the Counterpoint. Well, folks, we're less than a week away from Christmas. And while the holiday season is supposed to be about appreciating all the blessings that we've been given in this life, we also have to remember to think about those who don't get to have a Merry Christmas, Hanukkah, or Kwanzaa, or whatever it is you celebrate. Sadly, there are millions of people, especially children, who end up falling through the cracks and end up abandoned on these streets, failed by the very system that is supposed to protect them. One such case is one that has received only a moderate amount of attention, in spite of the fact that major celebrities such as Kim Kardashian, Rihanna, LeBron James, T.I., and Snoop Dogg have all shown support for her. I'm talking about the case of one Cyntoia Brown. Cyntoia was born to an alcohol and crack-addicted mother in Tennessee, causing her to be born with fetal alcohol disorder. Unable to care for her daughter, her mother later put her up for adoption, eventually giving her to Ellenette Brown, who tried her best to give Cyntoia the best childhood that she could. But the troubled child ended up out on these streets, eventually being taken in by a pimp named, and I quote, Cutthroat, who began to pimp the teenage girl out. During this time, Cutthroat, or Cut for short, allegedly beat, threatened, and raped Brown on many occasions. On one night in 2004, the 16-year-old Brown met Johnny Allen in the parking lot of a Sonic drive-in in Nashville, Tennessee. The 43-year-old Allen, who was a real estate broker and Army veteran, picked up the teenager and agreed to pay her $150 for sex. The two ordered dinner and later went to his home to be intimate. At some point during their night together, Brown shot Allen in the back of his head with a .40 caliber that she carried for protection, stole $172, 2 handguns, the man's truck, and drove back to the hotel that her pimp, Cutthroat, was staying at. Brown was later arrested, and in spite of being a child under the age of 18 and being the victim of sex trafficking, she was tried as an adult, convicted, and sentenced to 51 years to life in a Tennessee state maximum security prison, where she has been held for the past 13 years. The case was mostly forgotten about for years, until PBS showed the documentary, Me Facing Life, Cyntoia's Story, which was eventually picked up by the British Broadcasting Channel, causing international interest in the story and leading to new hope that maybe Cyntoia would get a pardon or at least have her case reopened. But just a few days ago on December 6th, the Tennessee Supreme Court found that Cyntoia at least has to spend 51 years in prison, meaning she will be in prison, barring some sort of divine intervention, until she is 67 years old. Obviously not the Christmas miracle Cyntoia was looking for. Imagine being a developmentally challenged, beaten, broken, and abused young girl, bought and sold daily on the streets, finally lashing out at one of the men victimizing you, only to end up spending what could be the rest of your life in prison. It's cases like these that are a reminder that we do have to do a better job of protecting our kids, especially young girls who are at risk of falling prey to pimps named Cutthroat and Slickback and end up trapped in a cycle of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse. A few years ago, the organization I work for, the United Urban Network, organized a Christmas program for people from the ARC shelter for women and children, many of whom had suffered similar abuse. And you would be shocked at how many of those kids enjoyed just escaping their reality for a few hours, getting to dance and sing and sit on Santa Claus's lap and be entertained. Matter of fact, for everybody in the Chicagoland area who's listening to this, we have a Kwanzaa program happening at the Calumet Multipurpose Center on West 41st Avenue, right here in Gary, Indiana, from 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. on December 26th, the day after Christmas, which is next Wednesday. So come on out, bring your kids. And if you know of any kids that are struggling, who need a pick-me-up, bring them out as well. We always have food, games, and speakers who educate and clean music to listen to. Overall, it's a positive environment, which is what so many of these kids need. Because ultimately, it doesn't take a whole lot, y'all. You just have to show interest in some of these kids to keep them on the right track. That's it. That's what this season is about. Even more so than the expensive presents that y'all are essentially bribing your kids with. Okay, folks. You can chop it up with me on Twitter at The Chemist Lives. The Chemist is spelled with a K, as I am a product of the Gary community school system, and we could talk politics, music, sports. You can tell me how terrible I am at this job. Or you can listen to me every Monday from 6 to 8 on Issues and Answers with Jonathan Boose and the precocious hostess with the mostest, Jamelia McGee. I am Sky Cannon as the Counterpoint on WLTH 1370 AM. God bless the working class. God bless labor. And I am out, humans.